Here's a question most professionals haven't thought about carefully enough yet. If someone asked you right now, in an interview or over the phone or in a room with your senior leadership team, to describe how you use AI in your professional work, what would you say? For most people, the honest answer is, I've tried it a few times. Maybe I use it occasionally for emails. Those aren't bad answers, but they're not the answers that differentiate you. And right now, differentiation on AI is still possible. The window is still open, but it won't stay open. This episode is about how to close that gap, how to represent your AI capability on your CV honestly and compellingly, and how to speak about it confidently in an interview when someone asks. Before we get into the how, let's be clear on the why. We're in a window right now where AI proficiency is genuinely differentiating. Most professionals are either not using AI tools at work or using them so casually that they can't speak to it with any specificity. The ones who can, who have a system, who can point to outcomes, who can describe what they do differently because of it, stand out. That window is closing. In 18 months to 2 years, I use Claude AI will be as unremarkable on a CV as I use Excel. The competitive advantage will shift from using it at all to using it well, to building workflows, to demonstrating measurable outcomes, to being someone who can help an organization think through its AI approach, rather than just someone who's adopted it. Which means the time to build the capability and start representing it is now, while it still differentiates, while the bar for what counts as proficient is still achievable, and while interviewers are still impressed by someone who can speak to it with specificity and confidence. Here's what most people do when they decide to put AI on their CV. They add a line to the skills section. Proficient in AI tools including ChatGPT and Claude. Maybe they add Microsoft Copilot if they've used it once or twice. That line does almost nothing. It's unfalsifiable, unspecific, and indistinguishable from every other candidate who's done the same thing. Anyone can write it. Most people will write it. The problem isn't that you can't claim AI proficiency. It's that a claim without evidence isn't a differentiator. The CV line that actually differentiates says what you did with it, what changed because of it, and what the outcome was. And the interview answer that actually differentiates says the same thing, but in a way you can speak to fluently and specifically, under pressure, when someone's watching. There are two things that make an AI claim on a CV or in an interview actually land. The first is specificity. Not, I use Claude AI for professional tasks, but I use Claude AI to produce first drafts of all client communications, brief stakeholder updates, and prepare for complex meetings, which has reduced my writing time by approximately 60% and improved the consistency of my output. That's specific. It names the tasks, it names the tool, it quantifies the impact. It's a claim a hiring manager can evaluate, can ask follow-up questions about, and can remember after reading 50 other CVs. The second is evidence. The best AI claims are backed by outcomes you can speak to, not hypothetical outcomes, things that actually happened. The update that went out to 100 stakeholders in 30 minutes instead of 3 hours. The client pitch that came together in a day instead of a week. The meeting you walked into prepared instead of winging it. Specificity plus evidence. That's the combination that differentiates. Part 1. The CV. How to represent AI proficiency in a way that's honest, specific, and doesn't get lost in the skills section noise. Before we talk about what to write, where does AI proficiency actually belong on a CV? The instinct for most people is to put it in a skills section, a bullet point alongside Microsoft Office and Salesforce. That's the lowest impact place to put it. Skills sections are scanned, not read. They're where claims go to be ignored. The highest impact place is in your experience section, woven into the description of your actual work. Not as a separate line item, but as part of how you describe what you did and what you achieved. This is where claims become evidence, because they're attached to a specific role, a specific period, and a specific outcome. A secondary mention in skills or a tools section is fine. It helps with keyword matching for applicant tracking systems. but don't rely on it as your primary AI claim. The primary claim lives in your experience. Here's the formula for writing an AI claim that actually works in your experience section. Task plus tool plus outcome. That's it. What did you do? What did you use to do it? What was the result? Reduced weekly stakeholder reporting time from 90 minutes to 20 minutes by building a Claude AI workflow for communications drafting, maintaining output quality while freeing capacity for higher value client work. Used Claude AI to develop and maintain a template brief library for all client communications, improving consistency of output and enabling the team to produce complex stakeholder updates in under 30 minutes. Implemented a Claude AI meeting preparation system across a portfolio of 6 key client relationships, reducing preparation time by approximately 70% while improving client meeting outcomes. Each of those follows the formula task, tool, outcome. Each one is specific enough to be interesting, honest enough to be credible, and outcome-focused enough to be relevant to a hiring manager. The most common objection to the task, tool, outcome formula is, I don't have numbers. I haven't tracked the time I've saved. I can't honestly say 60%. That's fair, and it doesn't mean you can't make a strong claim. You just need to be honest about what you can and can't measure. There are 3 levels of evidence. The strongest is quantified outcomes, specific numbers, specific time savings, specific business results. If you have them, use them. The middle level is described outcomes, qualitative changes you can speak to honestly. Significantly reduced the time spent on routine communications, improved the consistency and quality of stakeholder updates. These are vaguer than numbers, but still specific enough to be meaningful. The third level is claimed capability, describing what you do rather than what changed. Uses Claude AI for stakeholder communications, meeting preparation, and document briefings. This is the weakest, but still better than Proficient in AI tools, because it names what you actually do. Be honest about which level your evidence sits at. Exaggerated claims get caught in interviews, and nothing undermines an otherwise strong candidate faster. Here's what this looks like in practice. A complete experience entry that integrates AI proficiency naturally. Senior Communications Manager, Northbridge Group, 2022 present. Lead all internal and external communications for a 400-person operations division. Key achievements include consolidated the division's weekly reporting into a streamlined Claude AI workflow, reducing production time by approximately 70% while improving consistency. Developed a stakeholder communication system that has been adopted across the broader organization. And designed a meeting preparation framework for the executive team that reduced preparation time from 2 hours to under 30 minutes per meeting. Notice what this does. The AI claim is integrated into the experience. It's not a separate section. It's attached to outcomes a hiring manager cares about: time, consistency, adoption. And it names the tool specifically without making the entry read like a product advertisement. That's the standard to aim for. Not a skills line that says Claude AI, an experience entry that shows what you did with it. Part 2, the interview. What happens when they ask about it in the room? There are 4 AI questions that come up in interviews regularly now. Knowing all 4 and having a prepared answer for each means you can't be caught off guard. Question 1. Do you use AI in your work? This is the opener. It's often asked by someone who's not sure what to expect. Your answer sets the frame for everything that follows. Question 2. Can you give me a specific example of how you use it? This is the follow-up to question 1. It's where vague claims fall apart. You need a concrete, specific example you can describe fluently. Question 3. How do you make sure the outputs are accurate? This is the credibility check. It's testing whether you use AI naively or thoughtfully. Question 4. How do you handle tasks where AI might not be appropriate? This is the judgment check. It's asking whether you have genuine professional judgment about AI's role. Let's work through each one. Question 1. Do you use AI in your work? The weak answer: yes, I use ChatGPT and Claude sometimes, mostly for emails and things like that. The strong answer: yes, Claude AI is a core part of how I work now. I use it primarily for communications, stakeholder updates, client communications, meeting preparation. I've built a set of templates and a co-work project setup that means I spend significantly less time on routine writing and more time on the thinking and relationship work that actually drives results. I can walk you through how that works in practice if it's useful. The difference: the strong answer names specific use cases, names the specific tool, describes a system rather than casual use, frames it in terms of professional outcomes, and offers to go deeper. Question 2. Can you give me a specific example? This is where you use one of the real examples from your CV, or from your actual work if it's not on the CV. The key is to have 2 or 3 examples fully prepared and to be able to speak to each one specifically. Structure your example using the STAR format: situation, task, action, result, but with the AI component woven in naturally. In my current role, I manage communications for a 400-person operations division, and I was spending approximately 90 minutes a day on routine stakeholder updates. I built a Claude AI workflow using CoWork, which is Claude AI's dedicated project workspace, where I set up the full context of my role, my stakeholders, and our communication conventions once, and then brief individual tasks in 30 seconds, rather than 5 minutes. That reduced my writing time to about 20 minutes a day for the same volume of output. The quality actually improved because the brief writing process forces you to think clearly about what each communication needs to do before you start. That answer is specific, structured, and demonstrates genuine understanding of how the tool works. It's very hard to fake. Question 3. How do you make sure the outputs are accurate? This is the question that separates thoughtful AI users from naive ones, and it's a question most candidates haven't prepared for. The naive answer: I always check it before I send. That's barely an answer. It says nothing about how you check, what you check for, or what your standard is. The thoughtful answer: I treat Claude AI's outputs as a strong first draft, not a finished product. For factual content, I verify the specifics, dates, figures, anything that could be wrong. For communications, I read the output against what I actually know about the situation and the relationship, because Claude AI has the context I've given it, not context it's observed. And I edit for voice, not because the writing is weak, but because I want it to sound like me in my relationship with this specific person. The brief itself is actually the most important quality control. If I briefed well, the first draft is usually 80 to 90% there. If the brief was weak, I brief again rather than trying to iterate my way to quality. That answer demonstrates professional judgment, specific process, and a genuine understanding of what Claude AI does and doesn't know. Question 4. How do you decide when AI is and isn't appropriate? Claude AI is excellent for tasks where the thinking has already happened, and the job is translating it into clear, well-structured output. Stakeholder communications, meeting preparation, document summaries, process documentation. I don't use it for the thinking itself, for working through a genuinely novel problem, forming a judgment about a relationship, or making a decision where the nuance is in things Claude AI doesn't have access to. I also don't use it for anything confidential that shouldn't be shared outside the organization. I apply the same standard I'd apply to any external tool. That answer is balanced, thoughtful, and demonstrates you understand both the value and the limits of the tool. It's exactly what a senior professional using AI responsibly should say. There's a principle running through all 4 of those interview answers that's worth making explicit. Fluency signals genuine use. You can't fake the level of specificity in those answers without actually using Claude AI the way they describe. Someone who used it casually for a few emails can't speak to brief writing, co-work project contexts, or the relationship between brief quality and output quality. Those details come from actual systematic use. Which means the best interview preparation is not preparing interview answers. It's building the system, using it on real work, accumulating the outcomes. The interview preparation is then just finding the right language for things you already know. If you can't answer those 4 questions with that level of specificity right now, that's the gap to close. Not by writing better interview answers, by doing the work. Here's your challenge for this episode. 3 things. First, look at your CV. Is there anything in your experience section that represents how you currently use AI? If there isn't, write 1 entry using the task tool outcome formula. Even if you're not job hunting, getting it written makes it real. Second, prepare answers to those 4 interview questions. Write them out, speak them aloud, find the language that feels natural coming from you. Time how long each answer is. Aim for 60 to 90 seconds each. Third, if you can't speak to those questions with genuine specificity yet, that's your signal. Build the system. Use Claude AI on real tasks. Give yourself something to speak to. The window is still open. Use it. Before products, where this goes next. This episode was the overview, CV and interview together, the principles and the key answers. Coming up in the Climb the Corporate Ladder playlist, a dedicated episode on writing the AI section of your CV in depth, specific language for different roles and industries, what counts as evidence and what doesn't, how to position it for senior versus junior roles. And separately, a dedicated interview episode, every AI question you might be asked, preparation frameworks, and how to handle the ones that try to catch you out. Subscribe so you don't miss either. Quick reference, the whole episode on one screen. On your CV, task plus tool plus outcome. In your experience section, not just your skills section. 3 levels of evidence: quantified, described, claimed. Be honest about which one you're at. In an interview, 4 questions to prepare. Do you use AI? Can you give an example? How do you ensure accuracy? When is it not appropriate? Have specific, fluent answers for all 4. The principle: fluency signals genuine use. The best interview preparation is building the system and using it. The interview answers follow from that. 2 things in the description. The brief, 1 page, free. The framework that makes your Claude AI use specific enough to put on a CV and speak to in an interview. If you're not already using it, start there. Your first week with Claude AI at work, $20. The 5-day guide that builds the system. The outcomes, the workflows, the specific examples you'll need to speak to. By Friday, you'll have something worth putting on your CV. Both links in the description, via Claude for Lawyers on Gumroad, same creator. That's episode 10. Build the system, use it on real work, accumulate the outcomes, then write the CV line and prepare the answers, because you'll actually have something to say. Serious skills, actual output, every time. See you in the next one.